I want to show you this diesel heater from BougeRv in case this is something you're interested in getting. Full disclosure, they did send this to me to check out, but everything in this video is my own opinion. This thing comes with a remote control. This is not infrared. It does work with radio frequency, so you can have it in your pocket or inside. And see, I can turn it on remotely. I can also change the output power remotely as well. If we go to the screen as it's starting up, you can change the output power. So if we go all the way to 5,000 watts, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out my thermal imaging camera and we'll measure the output over there on the diffuser, as well as give you a sense of how hot this thing gets. Now, in terms of the case, while that's getting started, because it takes a few minutes for it to warm up and then start, you have these handles here that you can flip down. I'd say they are very high quality. You have your exhaust, and this thing is pretty rigid. You can see how it even just goes up into the air. And then you have your muffler right there. They give you these hose clamps that you can put on. Mine was a little bit challenging getting that on because the pipe was indented a little bit, but it did get it on. And I suppose they give you another one here in case you want to extend this. The hose in the back is not as long as I thought, but yeah, I guess you can always get an extra one that's just like this for a longer application. Again, you got to put the hose clamp on there for the diffuser. On the front, there is a graduated scale, so you can see how much is in there. You can get up to 5 liters of diesel. And what I thought interesting about this is reading the manual, there was no warnings about, don't put gas in here. So you don't want to do that. You want to only use diesel. Right there's the level of how much is in there. So right now the heater is going at full temperature. I can hear the fan going on maximum. I'm at 5,000 watts. It says 99% efficient, 12.9 volts. And then you can see the various icons, heater core is on, whatever. But I can change the temperature here, or I can do it with the remote control. So I can go down, back up. And again, I can put this in my pocket because it uses the radio signal to talk to the brain. The other things that you can do is you can change, you can put it on a timer, set the time on and off, all kinds of functionality that you can do with that. All right, so I have it on the maximum setting and it's been going for about 5 or 6 minutes. And I'm looking at the thermal image, and my highest temperature, I don't know if you can see it on here, is about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. And so it's pumping out that level of hot air. But what's interesting is if you go over here and you can see on the thermal image, there's my hand, there's the main unit. It's the same temperature as the air temperature. It says about 41 degrees Fahrenheit right here. And what's interesting is I can put my hand right on here. And if we look at the thermal image with my hand removed, you can almost see the heat of my hand on there. So it's not hot at all. Now the exhaust is another story. That is very hot. That is currently showing 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So don't touch that one. So next what I've done is I've set it on the lowest setting, and we can take the temperature reading. I notice that it's a bit quieter. The fan isn't blowing as hard. But if we take a look at the screen now, the top temperature coming out of the diffuser is about 124 degrees, 123 degrees. So a much cooler than that about 190 degrees that I was seeing at its peak. You do need to have an exterior power supply for this. I have it plugged in to the wall, and it has basically a 180 watt power brick that it comes with. And that power brick goes into this input here, which is an XT60. So they give you that power brick. They also give you an XT60 to these connectors. So if you want to hook it up to say a 12 volt battery, so like your car battery, for example, and then they give you this 12 volt input to XT60, but it does come with a special note that you probably don't want to use this in your car cigarette lighter unless it can meet this requirement. It needs 150 watts ignition power. So just bear that in mind. There are other portable power stations that you can use this with, that it wouldn't be a problem. So this heater is pretty small. I mentioned if you want a longer hose, you can probably get an extension insulated hose. But in terms of dimensions, this is 13.5 inches long, about 11 inches high, and about 10 inches wide. So I didn't show you the timer function, but if you read the manual, it has all the different kinds of options that you can choose to set up the timer and customize it the way that you want. Here's some other parts that you get with it. So you can get this clamp for the exhaust. They give you some of these other screws if you want to attach it to a structure or something. But hopefully this has been a helpful look at this BougeRv diesel heater.